The Philadelphia Phillies have a roster problem, and it needs to be fixed for them to win games this year. Let's talk Phils. Welcome on in, Sam. Also here on Century Baseball is normally where I'm uploading, but today we're getting the podcast back up and going. The Phillies podcast, so subscribe on YouTube or wherever you're listening to this podcast if you have not already. We're also on YouTube with MLB content on Century Baseball. There's a podcast. We have an MLB podcast, SB Baseball podcast. Everything's in the description or the bio. Whatever you're listening to, follow us on X at Century Baseball or the podcast. And we have a lot to get into today. Most of it's going to be about just what's wrong with this lineup. The Phillies have struggled early on to hit early in this year. It's really boiling down to a few players. We'll get into it. A couple of unlucky little things. We'll get into the pitching a little bit later on. But we might as well just kind of jump right into it. The Phillies lost 2 out of 3 to the Reds. 4-1 loss last night. Zach Wheeler gives him a very good outing. 2 unearned runs charged to his line, so he's still got a 0 ERA for the year. He's looking like the Cy Young that everyone wants. The Phillies can't hit. Kyle Schwarber gives him a home run. They load the bases. Marsh comes up, which I'm glad they didn't pitch hit for him there. There's some people who really wanted to pinch hit for him there. I don't think it would have worked because Brandon Marsh is earning a spot in this lineup every single day in left field. We'll get into that in just a couple minutes. But it boils down to right-handed hitters are not doing their job. We'll start at the top of the lineup. Kyle Schwarber's probably been the best hitter on this team so far. He's got 8 hits in 6 games now. You take that any day of the week with Kyle Schwarber. Any stretch, you take what he's given you. 2 home runs in 6 games, as well as 8 hits in 6 games. 6 singles, 2 homers. You take that every single time. Trey Turner I can't say he's looking as bad as he did to start last year, like in that stretch where he was at his worst, but he's not looking good. He's not chasing as much. He's definitely taking more pitches, but he struck out looking a couple times. Yesterday, I think he struck out looking twice. He struck out looking a few times. He's kind of struggling to find his approach. He's walked a few times this year. No extra base hits for him. It's all been singles. I think it's 3 hits. He has not had a great start to the year. The Phillies need him to get back to his MVP-like self, which I think he will. I think that this year is going to be a good year for Trey Turner. I think he'll have an OPS in the 8s when it's all said and done. But he's got to get going. He's hitting in the 2 slot. He hasn't been great since coming to the Phillies outside of a 2-month span. It's time for Trey Turner to start to get going. And it's going to start with, he's got to start taking more pitches. We'll get into another guy who really needs to start doing that as well. But Bryce Harper, he's been fine. You want him to get more hits, but he had a 3 home run day, made up for all of it. OPS 1 dotting. He had a hit yesterday, infield hit. Maybe a couple more walks, but we're still so early on. You can't even poke at anybody really that much. We get to the 4 slot. This is where I would have JT, and they have had JT when he's been hitting. JT looks fine. I think he had a good offseason. Even in spring, you can see him barreling up the ball. He's had a good start to the year. I wouldn't say he has had a great start to the year. He has a home run. He's just missed a couple. I think he's kind of gotten unlucky a little bit. He's thrown out some runners. He looks more like his 2022 self, where he was the best catcher in baseball, one of the best players in baseball from a value standpoint. So the 4 spot, we're okay with there. So Trey Turner, really the biggest problem out of those 4 we have so far. You get to the 5, it depends on who you have here. They kind of have rotated around. I think Alec Boehm was in the 5 opening day, which I'd rather have. Rather have Stott hitting 7 or 6 or 7 or 2. Stott's either got to be at the bottom or the top. I don't want him in the middle of the lineup. 6 is fine, but 5, absolutely not. So Boehm is hitting 5, if he's hitting 5. He's been all right. We need to see him take a step up in the power department this year, but I wouldn't necessarily say he's been the problem with the hitting so far. It's been Nick Castellanos. Nick Castellanos is hitting 6 or 7. We'll go to Bryson Stott just real quick. We'll fly through him. Not a great start to the year, but he's about what he's going to be, and he's hitting like 250, but it's 6 games. You're seeing about what you're going to get from Bryson Stott. He gets on base a little bit. And but the base running blunders, that has got to stop with this team. The base running mistakes needs to calm down, needs to stop. We get to Nick Castellanos. Nick Castellanos is swinging at everything. It's one of these stretches. He's starting the year this way now. where he's just going to swing at anything that comes his way. It's not a good look. It's not helping the Phils. He's only got a couple of hits, and they've been singles. We need Cassie to get back to the version he was in last year. He's like one of the best players in baseball the first half of the year. So Castellanos needs to get back to doing that. He's hitting 7 in the lineup, or 6 or whatever. Like, he's in the bottom of the lineup for a reason, because he chases too much. We get to Brandon Marsh. Brandon Marsh deserves to be playing every single day. We need to stop with this crap about how we're sitting him against lefties, because every time he's been in against lefties, he's hit against them. So we need to stop sitting Brandon Marsh. It's another thing. Was one of their best hitters last year, too. He hit an OPS at 838, second best on the team. We need to stop sitting Brandon Marsh. He's turned into one of the best players on the team, hitting-wise. He's been incredible. He strikes out a little more than you want to. He struck out about a third of the time last year. But when he's not, now it's an out, you know what I mean? We get to the 9. Oh, we can talk about Whit Merrifield real quick. We haven't seen a ton of him, but, like, he also hasn't looked great. He had that one at-bat in the 9th inning last night. It was kind of funny, like a 12-pitch at-bat. Looped a little one, into center field for a base hit. So, yeah, I mean, Whit's been whatever about what do you think he's going to be. He's not going to be hitting the ball out of the ballpark or anything. Johan Rojas is the biggest problem. He just simply shouldn't be on the team. And I said it before the year started. I don't know on what it was, but I said Johan Rojas probably shouldn't be on the opening day roster. If he is, he's not starting in center field. He hasn't hit a ball out of the infield yet this year. It's a problem. He's great defensively. But you have another guy who's great defensively in Christian Pache, who last year showed you he could hit. If I were the Phillies, I would be sending Rojas down. Rojas needs work, man. He needs to know how to hit the ball. He didn't have a good spring either. Until he can show you that he's able to hit the ball, I'm bringing up Pache. Or not bringing him up, but starting him every day in center. Marsh every day in left. Or if you like Whit Merrifield against somebody, you could put Whit in left, you put Marsh in center, because Marsh is a good center fielder too. Pache is not that much of a downgrade from Rojas. Rojas is great. Pache is not a total downgrade. Pache is also Gold Glove caliber center fielder who can hit the ball out of the ballpark. Like, Pache is a good ball player, and he had a good spring. I think he deserves the chance over Rojas. I would send Rojas down to get some work. I think he's got options left. Like, you don't have to worry about that. Rojas needs work for sure. And I would be giving Pache the chance right now. Because the way that Rob Thompson's managing, he pinch hit for him late in that game. It just shows you. I don't think that they have faith in Johan Rojas either way. So give Pache the chance, start Marsh every day, and I think this lineup, it'll figure itself out. Trey Turner just got to get going. And we saw what happened when he did. He played out of his mind. 2-month span, 1 dotted. That's the type of upside Trey Turner possesses. 30-30 player that you could have out of him, who can hit 300 if he wants. So that's how I'd fix the lineup. That's our first topic. We're going to talk about the pitching, but first we got to talk about our sponsor for today's pod. It is SeatGeek. So if you want to see the Phillies or any team play, you need to be using SeatGeek. They'll find the best tickets from all over the internet. Score them out of 10. Just look for the green bubble. That's how you get the best deal. And if you're a great deal getter, wow, how about that? If you're a deal getter, that's right, make a new account and use code Century17 to receive $20 off your first purchase. That's code Century17. It's the old YouTube channel name for Century Baseball. You get $20 off your first purchase. So, little insider tip, just make a new account. Use the same card. $20 off. Help your boy out a little bit here too. Help support the podcast. Truly would appreciate it. That's code Century17 on SeatGeek. Grab $20 off your first purchase of $50 or more. Thank you to SeatGeek for sponsoring today's video. So let's get into pitching. We got the problems, and I want to go over the guys who are performing well. Start the problems. Aaron Nola, he will pitch tomorrow. We got an off day right now today on Thursday. Friday, he will pitch against the Nationals. Bad showing. I believe now that they've changed some stuff around, I think he's down to like 5 earned runs and whatever on his line the other day. It's horrible. And it feels like he can't get any less lucky. The guy can't throw a pitch in the middle of the plate without someone tanking off of it. It's because it's slow, you know? But in the first inning, gives Albies a pitch down over the plate. And of course, he's not going to miss it because Aaron Nola, nobody lets a pitch get by against Aaron Nola. It's the worst. It's what happened last year. People said it. Aaron Nola is so unlucky he can't make a mistake without giving up a tank on it, which is his BABIP has got to be horrible. Well, although I don't think homers count against BABIP, so never mind what I said there. Nola, I think he'll figure it out. I think he's poised for a great year. It's tough that he's off to a bad start with the 7 earned runs and whatever, but he still gave him innings, right? He gave him 4 or 5 innings the other day. Excuse me, but yeah, not the start you want. We'll touch on Connor Brogdon. He's designated now. See if they make a trade for him. Probably won't. He'll probably just be claimed when it's all said and done. Yeah, his velocity is just way down from when he was good. He was in the playoffs pitching World Series games for the Phillies just a couple years ago. And now he's just not. It's just not really working for him. There are other options who are way better. He's slow. His changeup is up, getting hit all around. He hit around all the time. Brogdon was ironically when Spencer Howard was here, he was like their number 2 prospect. He's just not very good. It's flat. Fastball's not fast. Changeup is up, and that's a recipe for getting tanked off of. And that's really is 2 pitches: fastball, changeup. So yeah, we just touch on him real quick. Shirley Dominguez now, from last year and this year, from what we've seen, he's not been good. In the playoffs, he dialed it in. He was one of their better relievers down the stretch. But during the season last year, Anthony struggled. And it's a cause for concern for me because I need Anthony to be that 1-2 punch with Alvarado for this bullpen to be fully working. We'll get into another guy who I think could replace that role, kind of swap roles from last year. We can get into another right-hander we'll get into very quickly, shortly. But Anthony's got to figure it out because this bullpen needs him. Bullpen's been taxed too. Shout out to Pinto for giving them the 4 innings just a couple of days ago in their win because they needed that. But other than that, Anthony not helping them. Brogdon not helping him. Nola not helping him. Let's get into the guys who are helping them. Spencer Turnbull. Before Pinto, he gives them the 5 innings, no earned runs, 1 unearned run. This guy could be the legitimate 5 starter for this team. It makes you start to wonder when Walker comes back, do the Phillies try to move off of Walker because they have 5 good starters and Mick Abel on the way? It gives you 6 solid options. Is Walker done? Do the Phillies try to move off of Walker? Attach something to him? This is what I would do. If I'm the GM of the Phillies, when he excuse me, when he's healthy, you can let him give you a start if you need him. But if you don't need him, if the rotation is looking fine and you want to bring up Abel to try to develop him in the big leagues, the contract is abysmal for Walker anyway, and you have 2 more years after this. Attach Griff McGarry to him. Griff has not looked great, but he's got stuff potential. I would just trade him for bonus. I would just trade him for bonus money, if I'm being honest. Trade him for $500K in or not that much, $50K in bonus, international bonus pool money or something. It's just a free, get him off your team, give him to a team that needs a starting pitcher. Maybe the Texas Rangers pick him up, add him to their payroll, and the Phillies won't have to worry about him anymore. He hasn't been great. He gave him wins last year. He gave him innings, but not worth 18. I don't know if he's worth $18 million like they gave him per year. Anyway, Spencer Turnbull could be part of that equation. Turnbull looks really good. His velocity's not as high as it was when he was at his best. 2021, he had a 2.85 ERA. But he looked good. His off-speed was working pretty well. I think he throws like a split. Turnbull looked really good. I'm very excited to see how he can do for a full year. Christopher Sanchez also looked pretty good. I think he ended up getting 2 runs earned to him because Hoffman could not keep him, but that was just on 1 base hit. So Sanchez looks good. He looks like he could be the 4-5 interchangeable here with Turnbull as well. He and Ranger are similar mantra, similar aura to them in the way they go about. They're very calm. They're very... I don't really know how to explain it. It's like, first of all, their deliveries look kind of similar. I guess Sanchez is a little lengthier, kind of more whippy to him. But they're lefties. You don't hear them talk very much. They don't show a lot of emotion. Like, they're kind of similar in that way. And if Christopher Sanchez can give him 5 innings, 2 earned runs every 5 days, the Phillies take that. As the offense starts to heat up, that's going to be more than enough. In part because of Jeff Hoffman. Jeff Hoffman has continued to turn into one of the better relievers in baseball. Ever since he came to the Phillies, Caleb Cotham, the team, they work on him. And all of a sudden, he's turned into an incredible late inning reliever for this team. All because he pitched lives against Bryce Harper, and Bryce Harper wound up in the big leagues. What a story. Baseball is just like that sometimes. But Hoffman looks really good again this year. He allowed the inherited runners, but like just a runner on second and third with 1 out, or no outs maybe. I think it was no outs. That's a tough spot. Those runs are probably going to score anyway. But Hoffman's looked really good. I don't think he has an earned run to his name yet. He's kind of the guy who's going to switch roles with Sir Anthony for now until Sir Anthony can figure it out. And if they have a third guy who can do stuff like that late in games, it works all the better. So I'm worried a little bit about Sir Anthony. I'm not super worried about Nola. I think he'll figure it out. Very impressed with Turnbull, Sanchez, and Hoffman. Thank you for listening to today's episode of the podcast. Make sure you subscribe and follow. Everything is down in the bio. And I will see you guys in the next one. Have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.